people in Greenland got quite a shock recently thanks to a surprise visit. Were they really seeing the U.S. president surveying the territory he wants to take over?
Thank you for coming. We'd like you to keep it down. We're trying to get some invading done inside, quite frankly. We're going to make Greenland America again for the first time.
That, of course, not Donald Trump. Many Canadians instantly would recognize comedian Mark Critch doing his impersonation of the president for This Hour Has 22 Minutes. Critch's antics were a source of humor for some Greenlanders, and they also caught the attention of some journalists. This is part of the front page from Sunday's Boston Globe. The headline reads, "We went to Greenland to tell a very serious story. Then we met a Trump impersonator licking an iceberg." Boston Globe reporter Emma Platoff wrote the story and joins us now from Boston. Emma, we're going to talk to you in a moment about the people you met other than Mark Critch, but indulge us for a moment. What caught your eye about Mark, and why'd you put him on the front page?
Ian, you have to imagine you're in one of the most beautiful places you've ever seen. This is one of the world's largest fjords, white snow-topped mountains, clear blue icebergs, and somehow the only thing anyone can look at is this man in orange makeup and a sealskin jacket. And to me, it just felt like a perfect metaphor, a perfect symbol for the way in which Donald Trump has put himself at the center of the Greenlandic story right now. There's so much history, there's so much culture, there's so much beauty there, there's so many languages, and somehow the dominant story right now is Donald Trump. So this was a way of telling that.
And listen, I read your story today, and it is beautifully written and very insightful. And so I am curious about you, an American reporter, being in Greenland at a very pivotal time. I think you were there even as the threat seemed to recede. Tell me a little bit about your impressions of Greenland and the people you met there.
There is real fear in Greenland right now. The dominant story that we heard from folks, from high schoolers, from retirees, from people just trying to get to work, was that this was a story they could not avoid. They were talking about it in their high school classrooms. They were watching it during the break rooms at work, every press conference, every speech that Trump gave. And the government of Greenland advised residents to stockpile 5 days of food. The prime minister, while we were there, said he could not rule out an attack from an American president. If you thought this was a dominant story here in North America, this was something you really could not avoid in Greenland. And we wanted to capture sort of what it had felt like to live in the unwilling center of this international crisis.
And we're looking at some pictures as we speak to you that I think are Danish armed forces doing some exercises in Greenland. Were you surprised at all? I'll tell you one thing that surprised me as I read your story is I think you described Nuuk, the capital, which has a very small population, as feeling a little bit like a European capital. Maybe tell me a little bit more about Nuuk, a place I've never been.
So the entire population of Greenland is 57,000. Fewer than 20,000 people live in Nuuk. We weren't quite sure what to expect, but it really does feel like a Scandinavian city. They're playing the latest Taylor Swift albums in the cafes. All the young people we talked to were getting their news on TikTok. This is a sophisticated Scandinavian outpost, a semi-autonomous territory of the Kingdom of Denmark. Obviously, the standards of living and sort of daily traditions vary widely in other parts of the island.
And I'm curious about how things shifted when kind of word came out. I don't know how clear it would have been to people in Greenland, but that Trump was stepping back from his, claim that he was going to take Greenland even by force. Did the mood change in Greenland?
It was an uneasy tension, and it gave way to sort of this feeling of, okay, can we edge back towards normalcy? By the time we left Greenland, we were there for about a week. The ice was starting to thaw on the streets and in kind of an unseasonably warm day. And you could sense that people were starting to come out again. We're starting to feel a little bit less fear. But there's also this sense that something has irrevocably changed. We talked to a woman there who said she always grew up believing and hearing from her teachers in school that Greenland was this special place. There was something special. There was some safety in their obscurity there, that they were far away from kind of the noise and the wars of the rest of the world. And the sense of that safety has really been shattered. There is a sense that Greenland is on the map and sort of up for the taking in a way that it wasn't before this episode.
One last thing, and we have less than a minute. How was your article received among your readers?
I hope they're reading it and I hope they're enjoying it. I mean, you can't understate how big this story has been in the United States. I'm a reporter here in Boston. This is a mostly Democratic area where a lot of people have some pretty strong negative feelings about President Trump and the things he's doing. So I think that's carried over to this as well.
Well, I would recommend to Canadians, if they get a chance to read it online, they should. It is, as I mentioned at the outset, a beautifully written and insightful article. Emma Platoff, reporter at the Boston Globe, thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you.